When you start with only a name and a photo, your goal is to determine where that person lives and what they actually do. With the right analytical process, you can transform these scattered digital fragments into a fully verified, complete identity. Professional investigators use a framework called the OSINT chain. This is a sequence of steps that connects isolated pieces of public data into a single verified profile. To execute this process, you need a web browser, a virtual private network, and a strict commitment to operating within ethical and legal boundaries. Investigation is the process of collecting, analyzing, and turning public information into intelligence. Every tool we use is a specific step in a larger sequence of data gathering. Step 1 is securing your own digital footprint. Conducting an investigation while logged into personal accounts leaves a direct path for a target to identify you. Log out of every personal session. Then, activate a VPN or open the Tor browser. Masking your real IP address stops the platforms you query from recording exactly where your searches originate. Without these precautions, your real identity is visible to every site you visit. Total digital invisibility is the mandatory baseline for the entire investigation. Step 2 exploits a common habit. People frequently reuse the same handle across the internet. We call this username enumeration. Take your target's known handle and enter it into a tool like whatsmyname.app. This queries that specific username against hundreds of platforms simultaneously. In seconds, this maps out their presence across gaming networks, dating sites, and niche forums. You then manually comb through those active results, looking for an old bio or a forum post where the target listed a real email address. Connecting a username to an email address creates a bridge between an alias and a verified personal account. Now, you must execute a digital pivot. You move your focus away from the username and use the newly discovered email address as your primary search vector. You start by running that email through an investigative tool called Epios. Epios determines if the email is connected to an active Google account. This reveals a real name, public calendar entries, or local maps reviews. Next, you take that exact same email address and run it through Have I Been Pwned? This checks the email against historical data breaches, revealing which private services the target has registered for over several years. By cross-referencing an active Google footprint with historical breach data, you establish a verified human identity behind a previously anonymous alias. When targets realize they are being researched, they often delete their accounts and scrub their posts to remove evidence. To prevent this, copy the URLs of any discovered profiles and paste them into archive.today. This generates a permanent snapshot of the page. Even if the target deletes their profile, your record of the data remains intact. If standard searches and automated tools hit a dead end, you can apply Google dorking. Dorking involves using specific search operators to force the engine to bypass standard filters and locate indexed files. These advanced commands surface specific file types, hidden directory listings, or exposed user credentials that standard search queries would typically ignore. Preemptively archiving evidence and applying advanced search operators ensures the investigation remains successful regardless of the target's actions. The process began with a single username, isolated and unverified. Through enumeration and pivoting, you expanded that username into a network of connected emails, active profiles, and breached accounts. By capturing snapshots of every discovery, you compiled the final intelligence into a single, unalterable dossier. These techniques rely entirely on public data. They must only be used for ethical, legal protection and never for harassment. Expertise comes from knowing exactly when to move from one result to the next. The tools are free and legal. The skill is knowing how to connect them until the truth is uncovered.